Alrighty everyone, welcome back. It is now July 7th of 2025, and given that the Meghan Markle drama is going on consistently over at Netflix between herself, the executives, the producers, and even CEOs Greg Peters and Ted Sarandos, it's an ever-evolving process right now because there's been a lot of setbacks, not just with the reshoots of With Love Meghan Season 2, but also a ton of setbacks that is not working in Meghan Markle's favor at all when it came to other projects, as we talked about just a couple of days ago, when they decided to scrub multiple projects that were supposed to be used as a contingency plan for her overall contract renewal that is now looking to be very murky at this point. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new and like this video to see future updates. You can also follow me at Mike01. I thank you also very much for the great and kind support. Now, one thing about Meghan Markle right now is that we know that she has, mere months until this thing drops, until Season 2 is available on Netflix, and essentially we have a lot of executives that are very frantic over releasing this thing because not only will it damage Netflix's image further, but it will also actually contribute to subscriber loss, right? It will actually contribute to people leaving the platform and heading to other platforms as well. And it's not just related to Meghan, it's also related to the fact that they're raising rates as well. But focusing on the most recent situation that took place and how it involves With Love Meghan Season 2, this is where it seriously begins to go out of control. Now, one thing about Meghan Markle is that we know that she does not know how to actually keep her composure, and she doesn't really know how to keep her anger within herself, and especially, we already know that she is not a real person, she's not authentic in any way possible, and this is where it really begins to hit a new low. Now, with the Meghan Markle fiasco still going on over at Netflix in the midst of the reshoots for With Love Meghan Season 2, one major development going on now involves more to do with the Meghan Markle situation getting even worse with yet another test screening that she took part in for episodes 6 through 8 to go over reactions for the final episodes before reshoots were applied. Now, it turns out that Markle had yet another moment of outrage with a live audience during a Q&A took place from the screeners after the test screening of those episodes. Now, one scene in particular that was heavily criticized by screeners during the Q&A involved screeners criticizing a 7-minute long sequence of Meghan Markle creating cupcakes for Labor Day and Halloween. The main issue that screeners had with this scene is that it eventually got very political, since one part of this ended up with Meghan Markle heading into a rant about Donald Trump, the President of the United States. Now, screeners pointed out that this was a deal breaker for them, and Meghan erupted with rage and snapped back at the screeners on stage, calling them hypocrites and uneducated, and how this needed to be said. The moment Meghan snapped back at screeners again, now for the third time, was labeled as the worst moment of outrage from Meghan Markle since her rant on stage in front of the screeners, that she began to talk about the importance of women's rights and how she claimed it was disappearing under this new administration and how it needed to be called out. Now, the argument between herself and screeners got so bad that producers of Netflix, once again, had to pull her off stage. The main reason why she came back for both the screening and the Q&A is that this involvement is deeply printed into her contract with Netflix. However, now this behavior is beginning to damage their image. And of course, in general, speaking since this is now getting out there, to make matters worse is that screeners also called out Meghan Markle as fake, phony, and a cheat. Some screeners really wouldn't even back down with the audience, and even it caused Netflix producers to have security take some of the screeners out of the screening room. Now, as of now, Netflix is seriously considering scrubbing the concept of the Q&A portion of the test screenings for the next season of With Love Meghan, since that element is not built into her contract, just what, of course, spectating of the test screenings is. In fact, it was Ted Sarandos, not a shocker here, who gave Meghan the benefit of the doubt to do another Q&A to just see how it goes, and she failed miserably across the board by getting so bent out of shape. Now, guys, let me say one thing about Ted Sarandos. Now, look, I pointed this out so many times, more times than I can count, that he's beginning to show some cracks. He's beginning to show some signs that he is slowly turning the tide, that he's beginning to actually realize that Meghan Markle is just out of her mind. But it still amazes me that he gave her another shot to actually take part in a Q&A session after the test screening for the last few episodes of this season, before reshoots are applied, by the way, because it's going to be a major re-edit phase throughout all of August, or the majority of August. and we'll talk more about that as well. But what's interesting about this in isolation is the fact that you have Ted Sarandos still putting all the cards on the table in trust of Meghan Markle. And I think that this actually has a lot to do with the fact that there is something going on between the two. Maybe Meghan Markle has something on the guy, or maybe she is doing something. Who knows? We probably will never find out exactly what's going on over there. But it is certain that even Ted Sarandos is beginning to get very tired of her shenanigans to a degree. That's exactly why he's scrubbed the travel series and the fashion series from Meghan Markle, as we talked about some days ago. And that was only to save his image, alright? Make no mistake, don't get anything twisted. He wasn't doing this because, you know, he wanted to essentially just fix the whole Meghan Markle situation genuinely. He did this to protect his own image, and that's all it was about. Now, on top of this, Meghan, of course, also labeled the screeners as fake fans of the arts and cinema when she began, of course, actually going against the audience and shouting at the audience when she was being pulled out of the screening room by producers. Now, even Ted Sarandos is embarrassed of himself for giving her the benefit of the doubt to take part in the screening of the final episodes before reshoots will be applied. Now, another round of screenings are set to begin in August, once reshoots are over, to go over the final edits of the show, and so far, it's not looking good at all. And you know what? It's true, it's not looking good at all, because we talked about the reshoots. A lot of it is going off script. There's a lot of improvised material. They're not writing anything really, and this is to expedite everything, right? No script basically, and you have Meghan Markle and crew, you know, the actors, the actresses involved to actually go off script. Now, about that Trump rant that Meghan Markle goes off about in the actual show, and look, love or hate the guy, politics like that do not belong in a cooking show on Netflix, let alone a cooking show that features Meghan Markle. That only makes it worse, right? I think that we could all agree about that here. And that's exactly why screeners had a very big problem with it. And I'm sure a lot of screeners, you know, had different political opinions in there, which is why it erupted and why there was a big argument there between herself and the audience. And she really does believe that it belongs in this show. That's exactly why she came up with the idea of getting Gavin Newsom and getting Kamala Harris into episodes 4 and 6, which they're going to be doing that in just a short number of weeks, unless Netflix thinks otherwise. And I think that Netflix should really seriously reconsider that and scrub that overall plan as well. Get rid of that. Do not put those politicians in a show that's about, you know, doing nonsense in a rented house. Alright, let's be very real about what it is. Anyway, I would like to hear what everyone has to say about this, because you could see the downward spiral. You can see exactly what's going on right now with Meghan Markle and everyone else on board over at Netflix, and why they just are really in survival mode at this point of their brand, of their image, right? About what Netflix puts out there and what they remove off of their platform, while also raising the prices. And it's not a good look. And if I were them, I would cancel this thing outright, you know, regardless of the losses. But overall, I would like to hear what you all have to say about this below in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel, and I will catch you guys later.